do the whole show.
Wait, first of all, hold on. Facebook's been but I still can't do landscape. I'll fix it in post. Anyway, hey, where are you guys? I am with the legendary Pat the Hat.
And I'm with the legendary Bill Hale.
How you been doing?
Oh, hell, if I was any better, I'd be you.
We kind of go back a long way, but our roots go back even longer. That's kind of crazy. I always say, I grew up in Monterey. And he goes, no, dude,
Our roots go.
yeah. And so, actually, because I was born in a place called Hanford.
Yeah. Oh, and since Nick had all the shout-outs, we get a few.
Yeah.
Shout out to Danny and Libby, Hanford Fox Theater. Wonderful people, good friends. Rotate your device.
I can't. So I have spent hours and hours trying to find presets to make it go landscape because it used to be landscape until one day they decided no. So I got a blue check mark. I'm a professional, whatever. And the next thing is to get a new camera. I mean, new phone. So, and it's rather be. I like it live. We can do it like fake live, and then.
I kind of like that though. It's like it's almost like AI telling us to rotate our device.
Yeah, and they can go fuck themselves. I'll fix it in post, and it gets on my website. The website looks perfect, and then it's on Twitter and the YouTube channel and stuff like that. Well, who else are you gonna shout out to then before we go anything else? Dave Norris, if you're out there.
Dave Norris, you can talk to me. We can still be friends. Yeah.
And then Macaulay.
Macaulay, I haven't seen him forever. I'd love to see him.
Well,
again.
now he's in San Antonio or whatever.
You know, everybody keeps moving around. I'm kind of like Opihi. You got to pry me off this rock, you know?
Yeah. No. And Macaulay, Higher Reg, we did so much shit for that 3 years we were together. We went from Eastside Indians to the Big Blue Hearts to Sweet Fine to Sparkle Jet to back to being a solo person.
Well, now I got a question for you because I'm wondering, you know, you got entrenched and you know, taking pictures and everything else with a lot of local bands in Fresno.
Yeah.
And yet you were from like out in the South Valley. And you spent a lot of time going down, obviously, and photographing bands in LA.
Yeah.
When and how did you kind of migrate into Fresno to get into that music scene?
Anthony Bustos. My cousin Anthony Bustos. I was in LA, until '94, doing not photographing. Even though I photographed Bowie and a bunch of other big guys, but it was more or less kind of retiring from the '80s. I mean, I flew around the whole fucking country in the '80s. I mean, I was there and photographing Maiden in Miami or whatever, and so my thing was, Nirvana didn't kill music. We were all fucking tired. I mean, 10 years of going back and forth, I needed a break. I walked into my magazine office and went, dude, I have to quit. I mean, I can't do this anymore. And so I moved to LA, had a record company girlfriend, and we did all the B parties.
Shout out to his record company girlfriend.
And then we moved. She got promoted to Tower Records.
Yeah,
she was the sales rep for all the Tower Records in the Bay Area. So here we go, pack up the dog, everything else, ended up in a place called Burlingame. I was there for 3 days. I get a phone call from Anthony Bustos going, hey, bro, I'm down here at the Burlingame Brewing Factory. Come to see me. So I went down, and there was Rich Macaulay. And then Anthony goes, you and Rich will be best friends. Watch out, he has Tourette's syndrome. He may drop his guitar one time.
I remember that.
But since then, Rich and I were the best friends. It was crazy. And he moved in with me after he left Eastside. Well, Eastside, we did like for a year and a half. We did everywhere. I would pack up my Jeep Wrangler. Oh no, I had a Cherokee, a Jeep Cherokee.
Eastside Indians, but
yeah, because Anthony Bustos.
You were part of it though.
No, it was my cousin.
Okay.
And so I photographed my cousin.
Okay,
we did the whole full band, and then Gary Scruggs left, and it was a 4-piece. But I knew everybody. I met Doc that way. I met Ron Morris and everybody else. And then when he left Eastside, he moved to Bay Area, but he moved into my apartment.
Okay, all right.
And then he got a gig with Big Blue Hearts. Did a demo. His demo got him signed to Geffen. He said, fuck this shit. And we went to Sweet Fine. Sweet Fine was signed to Columbia Records already with Gary. And then Sweet Pine was the most amazing band ever, I thought, but they didn't know how to promote themselves. You had these two amazing lead guitarists, totally opposite. I've got the young kid's name, but he was a figure pinking kind of Clapton style, and Rich is doing his Keith Richards vibe, hair down, and he had Jerry in the middle. And these guys are fucking amazing. We did so many shows, Paradise Land, and all that shit.
I never caught one. I was busy doing music myself,
Yeah.
right? So I never had a chance to see those guys.
And then he left and went back to Fresno and said, I got a band called Sparkle Jet.
I remember
Yeah.
Sparkle Jet.
So, okay, I went to Sparkle Jet. We photographed a bunch of, I did their, when computers came to me, I did their whole second album and shit like that. And I did photographs for them and back and forth.
Nice.
Yeah. And he goes, hey, I'm leaving Sparkle Jet. And then he had that band with Dave, I forgot who played bass, the other guy with long hair in June. That was maybe like 3 shows that way.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. It was like Club Fred and all that
Speaking of
shit.
Burlingame, shout out to my favorite niece because she lived in Burlingame forever and she got me this shirt and everybody loves this shirt. I had a lot of compliments on it. So, Bethany, love you, girl. If you see this on YouTube. And
so,
you want to subscribe to it, by the way, if you're on YouTube, you want to subscribe to Bill Hales, photography by Bill Hales.
Yeah, I don't do that whole. I mean, it's fine.
I just did the commercial for you.
So. When did music bite your butt? When did rock and roll bug hit you? What's the first
feeling
time
that I was going to get asked this question.
Yeah,
and,
you have to.
And yeah, it's obligatory. And, I mean, for a long time, I thought back and I thought, well, it was when my mom had me and all my brothers sit down and watch the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, right? And then I started reading, like, how many bigger names than mine, have ranked that as their start, But I actually, lately, have been thinking back further than that because there was this cat on TV every week that we were watching on his parents' television show, handsome young kid that was doing great songs. And so lately I've started adding a lot of Ricky Nelson in my catalog.
Yeah.
And to me, I knew about Ricky Nelson as a star, a major star, before I ever knew about Elvis or ever knew about the Beatles.
Yeah.
And those songs. Yeah.
I
don't want it's actually a mission with me right now. I don't want those songs to disappear.
Yeah.
So I'm including them in my live act, doing like a solo thing.
His version of Summertime turned out to be Deep Purple's Black Knight.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, he was pretty progressive, and a lot of people didn't realize that. I got asked the other night, so are you doing Garden Party yet? Not yet, but I'm still wanting those older songs that were written by people in the Brill Building. I mean, great writers. That's the stuff I don't want to disappear. And I'm getting tips for it. People like it. It's an older.
Okay. So, where are you playing at to get tips?
Friday and Saturday nights, I'm at Chiang Mai Thai Cuisine, which is Mo'ili, and it's just outside of Waikiki, which is fun because I'm getting people like me. Even when I lived in Waikiki, I would find a reason to get out. And Friday nights I used to go out to Kapolei, and see my friends that had the Plantation Tavern down there. So shout out again. Plantation Tavern, no more, but it's now Monarch Pokey.
So I have to plug. So we're at Proof, and
we are
wonderful. Jasmine's there. So. A great club. They're doing a lot of stuff with Sale Jerry this weekend. It's Proof Social Club on the other side of Beretania. Hang out, have fun. If you're going to Hawaii Theater, come here for a drink. If you're doing a whole Chinatown thing, come here, have a drink. But just come here. It's great. So this man, one thing, he does have a single. I mean, your brother has perpetuated the myth of the original Boy Howdy.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. There's a song out there. It's kind of good, actually.
It was the B-side. We decided on it being the B-side because the A-side needed to be up-tempo. And so the A-side, Steve Gall, who we all knew as Steve Harmony, and he had the Harmony Brothers band before his brother passed, and the two of them were together for a long time. Multi-instrumentalist. I just saw him in Vegas a couple of years ago. super, super good dude. Shout out to him and his wife Joy in Vegas. But yeah, multi-instrumentalist, played pedal steel guitar, and he wrote a tune called Bayou Boogie, and they were playing the hell out of that. But yeah, we had it recorded at this studio that was run by a guy whose name I don't even recall, but I took the only year that Fresno City College offered a songwriting course, and I took the only year that they did that. I took it from this person who ended up doing our recording there, and I'm sorry that I forgot his name, but by that time we had a fiddle player in the band, and so we were like the only country rock band around when the Charlie Daniels band hit with the biggest thing in the world, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. And we had fiddle and steel, which no other country band in town had. And we were rocking it. It's funny because we migrated into that configuration from two guys that turned me on to Rush and Judas Priest and stuff like that. They were all playing it, and so those guys would add these accents in there from the rock music, and they got very popular. I mean, we were doing Hank Williams Jr. with Rush accents. It's like, get the hell out of Dodge, Yeah. So it worked. It was successful.
So where were you born then?
Fresno, California.
Yeah. And of course, Hanford, but 33 miles away.
Not far. Yeah, homies. We're homies.
And you never lets me forget that, because I kind of tend to let that part of my. I'm from Monterey. Tell them the truth.
Well, when I tell people, I go, it's the carjacking capital of the world, or at least it once was. I don't know if it is anymore.
And Fresno had a cool little. It's like my grandfather used to gig in Fresno. And then that was the whole thing, trying to find out, supposedly he did a couple of singles for Columbia as the Jack Hale Hawaiian Trio.
Wow.
And then there's a couple of artists of the Fresno Beat that it's photographed. So yeah, it's a little kind of.
I love the way this is going right now, honestly, because when I was coming here, I was thinking, screw me, not enough people know enough about you. And honestly, and just now when you were saying you spent X number of years traveling around the world. When I was coming here, Dave Norris said, "Oh, you got to meet this friend of mine."
Yeah.
All right, Dave, I still love you. Don't worry about it. And he said, "You got to meet this friend of mine. He's photographer of the stars, and he's photographed everybody. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. And I mean, he said Rod Stewart. I don't know who are you? It's amazing.
Well, usually the heavy metal hard rock thing, and so that you can do what you're interested in, and so yeah. And so it would start it up from 79.
Where did you photograph Bowie?
In L.A.
Oh,
it was up
when he came to Santa Monica.
No, actually, it was at a press conference. He needed a photographer. It was a Black Noise White Tour album. And it's funny because Geraldo played percussions on it, so Geraldo and I got to actually.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so Velez.
Hello, shout out to Geraldo.
If you guys know your Hendrix, at Woodstock, that little 19-year-old guy playing bongos, it was Jerry Valdez back now, but he was.
Who I haven't seen in years,
because he's in vocal with Tom Florida or something. Yeah, he's amazing.
Super nice guy.
Yeah. So no, actually, I photographed Bowie. Savage Direct needed a photographer. A buddy said, "Yeah, this is Bill. He's really good." And for an hour and a half, the publicist would go, "This is so and so for Tower Records," and David would go, "Are you ready, Bill?" "Ready, David." Click. For an hour, and then this is like David would go, "Are you ready, Bill?" "Ready, Dave." And it's like. I'm going, this is Ziggy Zarsa. This is like that. This is like I'm trying to be so cool because you can't be a fanboy.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the end, I'm driving home going, fuck, that's David Bowie. How many bigger rock stars than that, How many people changed the world compared to that? And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that, I'm not important. My photographs are, but my buddies are. I love my buddies.
Yeah, but you took the photos, bro. It's kind of like Randy Sharp once told me. He said, I'm really getting tired of hearing this thing about, when people say, he said, please don't. He addressed my songwriting workshop that I had for like 8 years when I came as a guest. And he said, please take the credit. I know, the temptation is to say, that this song just came out of thin air and, fell in my lap and and God gave it to me. And Randy's a little bit of a agnostic, but atheist, whatever. I don't know. But anyway, he's like, yeah, but take the credit, because if you don't, they're going to get your royalties. You know, I mean, it's going to go away. They're going to justify you not owning your own material some way or another. You know, so take the credit.
Oh, it's I'm photocopying it. So wait, this is great because I really wanted to talk to you about songwriting because what makes a great song? Let's fast forward someplace. You're doing something. All of a sudden, that riff hits or whatever. What when you write a song? Is it typical 1, 2, 3, 4? Or like you want to come up with an opening? Oh wait, here.
Hand of Fate. You gotta get inspired. You gotta get inspired.
Wait, Hand of Fate from the Rolling Stones. Hand of Fate. It's on Black and Blue.
You threw one at me that I haven't heard.
Oh, it has like guitar. Dun, dun, dun. It's like the heaviest thing they did since like.
All of their stuff has a great guitar riff.
Yeah, but it's like when it's out of the place. It's like Black and Blue is like already going that way.
Well, I mean, let me go to where you asked what makes a great song.
Yeah.
It's so subjective. You know, it's really difficult to nail down. But you know, there are just certain things that work. Okay, so let's talk about Andy here. Andy's song, because it hit me when I heard that song.
Andy Seven Pair, Hard on the Bar.
Yeah, and you know, it's like I did one gig with him.
Yeah.
And it was just me and Jack, his old guitarist, and him at where was that place? Sin Lounge, right? Shithole. Sorry. Anyway, so we're in there and we're doing this thing, and I had my board that records, you know, my QSC board, and it records really nicely, and I just threw it on basically. Went home, blew up the waveform on the computer, listened to the songs. I'm like, I'm on Spotify at that time, which I just recently got off, so don't crucify me. Okay, I went to a different platform now. But anyway, I'm listening, and I'm trying to figure out who these songs are by and which are covers and which aren't, right? So I find like Drive-By Truckers. Okay, cool. You know, Andy's been doing that song for a while. I find Cold Water, you know, with Tom Waits. Yeah. He does a great version of that, you know. But I came across this one song, and I was like, I hit him up like a couple nights later down at Downbeat Diner when it was open. I said, you know, that clown song, I couldn't find it anywhere. And I looked at him, I said, did you write that? And he kind of sheepishly, you know, yeah. And I said, that is a great fucking song. That's a great song. And I don't know what it is. It's just something that hits the imagery that he uses in it, you know, the 50s progression that it's got gives you that kind of yearning and longing kind of thing, and the whole thing is about, like, you know, getting stood up, and he says, and he pays it off by saying the hook of the song, I'll settle for your floor, and he calls the song Your Floor, and I was just like, dude, and you know, we actually became really good friends after he realized that I thought the world of that song, and still do. And what did he grab tonight when I walked in? He started playing it on the guitar. So
mine's Credit Card and Cocaine. And then he comes to these, hello, Andy. He does find these obscure covers, and he did a Reckless Eric cover at one time. It was like, okay, only I knew that song.
Yeah, he's obscure that way. You know, Guy Cruz, who I started out with here, God rest his soul, was obscure about a lot of things. I mean, you know, when I first got here, my brother took me to Aloha Tower. I'm standing on the side of the stage, watching this band that he had, who were amazing band, you know. And I told my brother, I said, I don't know why I'd want to go anywhere else and listen to anything else, honestly. I mean, it was that good, you know. And he was rocking it. He was rocking the house back then, man.
And what band was that?
Huh?
What band was it?
It was his band. It had Mark Perlman on guitar, and Sean on drums, and who else? He changed bass players around a little bit at different times, but it was all about Guy. I mean, Guy could just kick a crowd right in the ass, and it was that smoky, raspy voice that he had, you know. So really, I started out here just sitting in with Guy before I performed with anybody, other than this jazz band that my brother had hired for his wedding, because I came here from Nashville for my brother's wedding. And before I got here, I told my brother, I said, you know, I think I've done what I planned to do in Nashville. It's not here for me anymore. Also, once I started playing out in clubs, they were still allowing cigarette smoking in the clubs, and I didn't smoke. So I was getting sicker and weaker every weekend. I actually went out and bought a separate set of harmonicas. Oh, I bought a separate set of harmonicas that I played in places where you didn't smoke.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if they're all going to stay in here or not, but here you go. Here's the yeah. That's what I was afraid would happen. So there you go.
I would know.
There's a whole bunch of them in here, and everybody says, why so many? Well, yeah. Once in a while, you get a singer that's got some range.
Yeah.
And if they've got the range, you need to have the right key. So I've got half steps and minors and things like that.
So how long were you in Nashville for?
I was there for 2 years, maybe a little over 2 years. And
Did you do any recordings? Did they come out?
mostly at home, my home recording. I was writing songs, but you know, I waited a year to go out and perform. I don't know. I was told by the guy who told me that I should move there, who is the executive president of the NSAI, Nashville Songwriters Association International, NSAI, the largest songwriters group in the world, but they also are an advocacy group for songwriters, and that was what interested me more, even more than the songwriting. But I thought, well, I'll learn the songwriting aspect of it, you know. So we ran a workshop. I ran a volunteer workshop for them, which they, in those days, were quite enamored with, you know, just the fact that you volunteered. And so I had to go there to be recognized by the organization. And the executive director, Bart Herbison, super nice guy, shout out Bart, said, well, you need to move here, you know. And so I did. And he's the one who also told me, but don't let the music take over, you know, everything. You need to focus on getting a job and, you know, paying your bills and getting get settled for. I struggled. There were no jobs, and it's a right to work state, so there are no unions. Most people work 3 jobs back there to make a paycheck. It was scary. So, you know, the people who decide to stick it out and, you know, write, and most of them sign some sort of a deal as a writer, and they don't own their stuff, but they get you know, either a stipend or something, right? I mean, it's you know, you get an advance of some kind, but you have to pay it back. It's they're betting on the fact that you're going to write a hit song, you know.
It's worse in LA, huh?
It's pretty bad.
Flip your microphone.
Oh, yeah. What did it do? Oh, went inside. Sorry, I'm muffled here, probably. Yeah. Okay.
We're loud enough.
So as far as being worse in LA, well, the one song that I haven't written yet because I thought that the title would be so generic is Hillbilly Hollywood. But that's really what I think of Nashville. It's Hillbilly Hollywood. Yeah. For all the reasons you know.
It just is such a, not that I know a lot about Nashville, but what I've heard, it's, At least in LA, you kind of like own everything. You're allowed to do what you want to do. You don't have to be scheduling sound.
There are beautiful girls that go there to be, you know, models in the videos and stuff like that. I mean, and it's in a Hollywood sense, you know, follows suit. You know, so there's a lot of that going on there. But you know, Jesse Savio went there, and he's doing pretty well, playing all the places that I used to hang out in.
Yeah.
Love you, Jesse. Shout out to Jesse. Yeah.
No, yeah. Jesse's there. My buddy Kapali Long was born here. Biggs out there along. North is still out there. And then all the heavy metal guys buy ranches out there. Will Faulkner from Accept has a ranch. Dave Mustaine has a ranch. It's like,
Well, you know, the big hair producers, right? From the
What's his name?
Bands,
Yeah.
They all started migrating there when they got tired, like you were. You know, you said your ears were fried, and you know you needed that break. They all went there. Why?
Mutt Lange's there. Yeah.
Why? Because the great studios are there. Yeah. The great players are there.
Yeah.
And they've got microphones that go back before Sinatra. You know what I mean?
So it was kind of even some of the video producers. The guy did all the big Bon Jovi videos. He was out there fast. Anyway, sorry. I don't.
Well, you know you're watching, so, you know, just accept our apologies.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So, did you ever see Cologne? With Guy and LaPaca and all that shit?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Because that was pretty fantastic.
I heard about it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. Because what happens when John from Pure Art decided to leave to go back to school, Jake was out of a band, and so Lapaka had no problem jamming. Because Lapaka's
now we're talking Hawaii, folks.
Yeah.
You should watch it from somewhere else.
And there's a guy named John Cruz, and he's like the middle child of the Cruz family. There's Ernie Cruz Jr., and then Guy was younger. But John Cruz actually went to East Coast, Martha's Vineyard, for college and gigging and stuff. If you get the very first Blues Travel album, the only song with that harmonica he wrote. And so
I didn't know that.
Now you do. and so
because it's funny that you said that, because one night I was at Aloha Tower with Guy.
Yeah.
I'd just gotten here and I just started playing with Guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think John had seen me yet. You know? And I was like, I hit Guy up. I'm like, and John was doing a show there outdoors, right? Where Kapuna used to have his thing, right?
Aloha Tower.
Yeah, Aloha Tower. And I tell Guy, I go, you think you might want a harmonica player? The guy says to me, my brother's a great harmonica player. And I was like, sorry, I didn't know, but yeah, John is.
But you guys did a lot of gigs together. I mean, you're
John paid me a compliment one night. We were at what was once Jimmy Buffett's, right? And, Margaritaville.
Yeah.
And he got me up to play with him on, the song, but anyway, when I was done playing, he said, what I like about you is you play the sweet stuff. That was wow. Coming from that guy. Yeah. That was really, really nice.
And how about jamming with Boogie? You jam with Boogie, right? Once in a while.
I love jamming with Boogie.
Hi, Boogie.
Yeah, Boogie. Shout out to Boogie for sure.
We go. I think that first time I saw him was because you kind of like were playing and somebody outside. Like, oh yeah, it's good. Whoa, this guy's pretty good.
That was the where I met Boogie was the benefit that got organized for Poncho Sullivan's little girl, right? The surfer Poncho Sullivan, and his little girl needed like massive heart operations from the day she was born.
Yeah.
And Ronald McDonald House played in on that, and they were taking the little girl to LA and all this stuff. But a woman came here from Australia. Her Jeep turned over when she was here to see
Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie Vedder, right? And that whole thing.
Hello, Joni.
Oh, right?
And then, say hi, Andy.
Andy,
Hi, boys.
We talked good about you.
Did you?
Yeah, we
said
did.
nice things.
Yeah. We said.
Always nice things with us, gentlemen.
Hey, Tavana, see? Andy's here. Pat's here.
The Andy.
Andy. Got the hat. We got everything
He's
in there.
looking pretty pirate these days, though, with that beard and the band.
Love you,
Art, are you talking to
Love you, boys.
I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be around.
Yeah.
Come on down for Salad Jerry's.
Oh, plug time.
Approved Social Club, y'all.
Shoo!
That's what you want to do this Saturday, all day long. Come on. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, because you've said it. Can we mention HK or?
I don't care. It's not going to bother me. It's not going to hurt my feelings at all.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's good. Because there were some good things that happened,
Absolutely.
Yeah. For a while, the man was part of Henry's band on Dukes on Sunday. You guys all know, most of you guys know Dukes on Sunday. And then actually the album cover of Dukes on Sunday 2, there's I forgot the guy's name who painted. He's like on the cover, so it's fine. It's good. It's so
shout out to Henry Capono. Henry Capono's the man. Everybody knows that here, and he knows I love him. I told him so and gave him a kiss on the cheek, which set him back a couple of steps, but you're seeing him.
So besides that Boy Howdy single, what have you actually recorded?
Just my own songs.
And published out there.
Not anything else really.
Except for Henry's album then.
Yeah, and that's funny because coming here from Nashville, I would have thought that I'd have had something on the radio there. Not that I pushed it or anything, but just because you're in that environment and there, everybody thinks that Nashville is just mainstream country, and it's not. There's a whole lot more music that goes on there, and that's what I was going to say about when I first saw Guy Cruz was that I used to go to clubs in Nashville purposely to see everything that wasn't country, and I got to be good friends with Janelle Mosser and some rhythm and blues artists and people that just did a lot of different things.
You want to know?
Why, sure. Because why? Because we need our medicine. We need our medicine.
I never put that Keith Moon thing in there, but
Yeah. Well, Keith Moon would go through the door with an axe, right? You've seen that movie, right?
yeah. But
The kids are all right. I love that movie.
Yeah, you know what's sad.
Ringo's outside the door, and he thinks, I think I know what's going on in there. And then all of a sudden the axe comes through the door, and guess who? Moon.
So was harmonica your first choice, or what did you start playing?
No, guitar was my first instrument.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a funny story because, you know, my mom made me, she was always like baiting me with, you know, to get good grades and do this and that. Like, you know, you'll get a Stingray bike if you give me an A average and this kind of thing. I tried that shit on my son and it didn't work. But anyway, so, you know, she says, if you can play from the soundtrack of Exodus, which was one of her favorite movies, you know, it's a gospel Roman chariot kind of thing back in the day, I guess. And if you can play the theme song from that, you know, I'll buy you a guitar. So I got an acoustic guitar first, and I still couldn't play it. So she, you know, broke her own rules. And then she was going to buy me an electric guitar because I wanted an electric guitar, you know. And so I still hadn't learned it. And she takes my brother to like Thrifty, right? Thrifty was like
Longs.
Yeah, Longs kind of is here, you know.
Yeah.
And there was a guitar, a Tisco Del Rey, that was hanging on the rack, and my brother saw it, and my mom was like looking at the Bugs Bunny one with the little crank on it. You know, she's gonna buy me that, right? My brother said, no, yeah, Mom, I think he'd probably want this one, right? So that was my first electric guitar. That thing was solid rosewood. Yes. The neck was rosewood, and it was so heavy that they had to carve a handle in it to carry it, right, in the body. But
kind of like Ibanez.
But it was a Japanese-made guitar, and today it's a collector's item. If you can get your hands on it, you know, that people want them, right? So I didn't have a Fender, didn't have a Gibson. You know, we weren't wealthy enough to have that. 7 brothers, 7 boys, I should say. I had 6 brothers in the family, a big Catholic family.
Yeah.
And
you're the middle child?
So one of my songs that I wrote that hasn't been published or gone anywhere is Lucky Dog. And I was fortunate enough to have Jesse Savio cover it when we got in this contest thing, really obscurely. We had no idea that this contest based in New York that recruited in Hawaii, they recruit all over the world, to have songwriters pair up with songwriters. Yeah. Jesse and I got paired up because our styles were similar. But it's like, when I asked Jesse, I said, they paired us up, you know, I mean, and we're friends already. We already know each other's material and stuff. I said, you know, what do you think of that? I said, well, I think it kind of shows that they lack imagination. Sorry, no offense to your organization. But, you know, the next year, I'm sure everybody was wanting to try something else, something different. But it was cool because Jesse did something totally different with my song, and I did something totally different with his than we would have, you know. So this song, you know, is kind of semi-autobiographical, is what I say. But it's about a dog that I wrote it about a dog that I had, Lucky Dog, because I rescued him from the needle. He was going to get the needle, right? Well, I ended up having to take him back. That's the sad part of the story. So, yeah, so that was after like 2 years of having him, though, and we became friends. But he did something really crazy. And the story goes that I heard was that I lived out in the country at the time on a rural area, and some farmers came to me and told me that they hit the dog over the head with a lead pipe to get him off of their other dog, because I was told at the pound when I got him, if it's a male, it's a pit bull. If it's a male, they'll fight him. If it's a female, no, don't worry about it, you're fine, right? And so, but we got around these other dogs, and he grabbed my girlfriend at the time, grabbed her dog by the throat, and I think it was just kind of like to show this other dog that had come in the area. This is weird, but dog language, right? You know, came into this area that nobody knew where this dog came from. And I think it was kind of like my pit was saying, this is my bitch, you know, kind of thing, right? Yeah. And just had her by the throat, though, you know. In the meantime, my girlfriend's freaking out. And I'm dragging him down to hold him underwater, you know, to let him let go. Yeah. And he's looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And then I started thinking, if he wants to turn on me, I'm dead. I'm dead because they don't know their strength, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I wrote the song called Lucky Dog. There is, luck only lasts so long, folks. Honestly, that's the moral of this story. But the song called Lucky Dog doesn't really give that away or anything. It doesn't talk about the ending. It just talks about him like escaping from a dog catcher that wanted to catch him, who, in the voice of Barney from, Barney the Mayberry, FD, Anyway, I did all that shit in there, but I also mentioned that, there were 7 brothers and several others, and, we had to fight. I had to fight my way out of the pack, and that's kind of, So people like that song, but if we're going to talk about my original songs and what I've written, the one I've gotten the most requests for was a song that I wrote like hours before my father's funeral, and it's one of those ones that Randy warns you about. Don't let God take the credit for this song. But it felt like all I had to do was like stay my mind on that person and what he meant to me in my life, and the thing just kind of just started getting written, And it ended up being my eulogy at the funeral for him, and I didn't make it all the way through, and I thought, oh, I'll never play this song again, until Vince Warner, who hosted a show in Fresno on the Easy Listening, radio channel. You know Vince?
Yep.
You don't know Vince?
Yep.
He played in all those bands at Club Fred and all that. Yeah, super, super nice guy. But he had this show on that went all over Fresno. They would broadcast out of Fresno. And he had me live on there, and I was playing my original songs. And he said, I heard about this song you wrote about your father, and I was like, oh, kind of taken off guard. So I played it, and he paid me probably the highest compliment that I could ever hope for or get for the song, which was, he said, after I played the song, he said, I never met your father, but I got a sense of the man from the song. So that's the kind of stuff that, folks, if you're going to write a song, don't worry about if it hits the top of the charts or not, write them to ignite them, and sometimes it, that's a little catchphrase I got, but sometimes it just, it just happens. And sometimes you can be like people used to be in my songwriting workshop, and just being in that environment, the osmosis, you pick it up and you start doing things that you haven't done writing wise, so get out of your comfort zone. That would be my expression for that, and find a way to write something that shocks the shit out of you. And it doesn't matter if everybody relates to it or not. Hopefully you write it in a way that more people than just yourself relate to it, because that's a key to writing songs that have what they call legs, in the industry. I think I've got some songs that have legs, but it's a tough nut to crack, man. It's like, when I got to Nashville and Dave Norris told me, he'd been meeting all these big writers, all these big guys in people's backyard barbecues. Yeah. That's what goes on back there, So you just never know. You never know. My son came here. He had a job. He lived here for 3 months with me, and he had a job 3 days after he got here doing videography for Japanese weddings. After like 3 weeks, I think, he quit. And I was like, what the hell did you quit for? He said, Dad, if you've videoed one Japanese photography, if you videoed one Japanese wedding, you videoed them all. Japanese weddings are a cottage industry here.
Yes,
right?
Huge.
Big money, yeah. And I go, but you don't know if the next one, Steven Spielberg or somebody like that, might be a guest, and takes note of your work. Those are the kinds of things that you just can't count or plan on. Yeah. That's one of the keys of life that's so special. Give yourself one more day. I wanted to talk a little bit about suicide, even though it's a terrible subject to talk about. Yep. My view of that is give yourself one more day. I read once that, and we've all lost somebody that way, and it's terrible, it's tragic. But I read once somewhere that the only reason anybody does that is because life has simply become too painful. And that makes sense. But give yourself one more fucking day, because you just don't know what the difference a day makes.
Yes.
You don't know. Anyway, I'm going to drink some more medicine here and hopefully get better. I'll get better at this. I've never done this. This is my first podcast. Thank you so much, Bill. I love this guy. I love this guy.
Our schedules are really, and then I said,
Exactly.
out of the blue, like, well, I'm on vacation this week.
Right, but look what I got in here. Look what I brought.
What is it? Tell me.
It's a dinosaur egg.
It's a
Yeah, the dinosaurs are roosting again in Manoa. In Manoa. Yeah. Yeah. Ask Tavana what this is. She
Shake it.
knows. Tavana knows why, because one night I came to see him and actually ended up playing, as I usually do with him. Thank you. Shout out to Tavana. Super, super good dude here. And I put one of these in his tip jar. and he said on stage, only in Hawaii can you get an avocado as a tip in your tip jar. I, of course, tipped him. I've always tipped him.
You know, the other thing he got tipped, hi, Tavana, missed you, motherfucker.
Where are you anyway?
He got tipped a tenor banjo one time. Some guy goes like,
Is that what that thing is? Because
Yeah.
I've heard him play it, and I love when he plays it.
Some guy goes like, you're so good, but all I have is this banjo. Okay. And so, of course, he doesn't know how to play banjo. He got guitar strings on it at first. And
I thought it was a banjo that like got caught in a turnstile or something, you know, because it's like the neck is only like so big, right?
it's a tenor banjo. And
But-
little glass castles on it. Shout out to Nick Mancuso.
I think you should bring that back, bro. Love that banjo. I do.
Because at one time it was a banjo, ukulele, and Weizenborg, this and that, and then all the other things. And then he had, it was crazy.
So this thing just got here today from Spain. I ordered it from Spain, and so shout out to Carl's, my hat maker over there in Madrid. You can find him on Etsy, on the Etsy app. And that's not a plug for Etsy, that's a plug for Carl's.
And I
Not
tried,
Charles, Carl's.
I tried to find photographs of the original hat, or the original hat I met you with, the little Scully thing. I think one of them does have it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The jackalope. Was it jackalope?
No, it was just a shrunken cow skull.
With horns.
There was like a refrigerator magnet,
Yeah.
but it was such a good depiction of it. Plastic, you know, and,
Yeah.
and I stuck it up there with a magnet.
Yeah.
You know. This is up with Velcro, by the way. But I stuck that thing up there, and one night I went to help Kings of Spade. Shout out to Kings of Spade. I love you guys, and so does he. We love you guys. Everybody here loves you. And so they were playing like next door, and it was just pitch black, and they had finished their set, and I was helping Jesse like get stuff off the stage. It disappeared, right? It fell off the hat, and I'm like, I go home naked, you know, with nothing on the hat, right? And so next few days, Jesse sees me, and he's like this. He's pointing at the hat that doesn't have it on it anymore, and he's like, dude, I saw it. I saw it. And I was like, where? He goes, on the stage, man, but I thought maybe like you were going to come back and get it or something.
Oh,
you know?
no.
And so that's where it went. That was a refrigerator magnet that I bought at a truck stop in like Nevada somewhere on my way to Nashville. Yeah, on my way to Nashville. But I like this better. This is a tiki that actually is a Maori tiki. Yeah.
What time is it?
What time is it? Oh, we're talking like 26. When you got to go tonight?
Oh, pretty soon. Okay, hold on. Ready? You get to have the camera for a minute. I'll be right back. I gotta make a pit stop, guys.
But I want to go with you there. I'll help you with that. I haven't seen the show. Oh, hi. Oh, hello. Rotate your device. You can't turn your phone while live. You can't do that. That's what the message keeps coming up. You don't see this, but we see it. It says rotate your device. You can't run your phone while live, and you can't MC a podcast when you have to go. And when you have to go, you have to go. Okay. I mean, it's like what was that? You know, when Kennedy tells that guy, I think the young man said he has to pee. Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go. And you know, according to the whatever they're called, the Bears. No, not the Bears football team. Those other guys, the toilet paper bears. You need to enjoy the go. You should really enjoy it. There's a favorite scene of mine in one of my absolute top 5 movies called The Fisher King, where Robin Williams talks about having a BM, and you know he's in character. He's in the character of I forget the guy's name, but anyway, check out The Fisher King. It's a wonderful, wonderful movie and a wonderful legacy for Robin Williams and the dude. He's the other guy in it. Great movie, nice little kind of surprise at the ending. But yeah, that scene that I tried to find on YouTube, which nobody has on there, where he talks about how gorgeous the BM is when he's just like, oh, yeah, and you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about here. So anyway, our gracious host, who I'm so proud and honored to be with, Bill Hale, photographer of the stars, just photographed all over the world. The guy's amazing. Doing his podcast from here in this wonderful, wonderful downtown bar, Proof. You saw Andy here a while ago, dear friend of mine. I'm filling in time right now. I'm stretching this, what they call a stretch, because Bill is probably shaking it more than twice, and that means he's playing with it. So I'm not sure how long this is going to go on or how long I have to fill for. But doggone it, we need our medicine. Who else can I shout out to? Shout out to all my friends here. All my friends. The Cruz Ohana are a songwriting dynasty in Hawaii. They have written their chapter of the Hawaiian music here. My friend Yoza, love you, Yoz. She the bomb. She can entertain a crowd anytime and kick their ass. Oh, he's back.
Anybody knows me knows I drink so much liquid. I mean, 2.5 gallons a day. Plus, I have a vitamin intake from hell. And so, do I look like I'm 65?
I covered for you.
I know. Yeah,
I told him if you shake it more than twice, you're playing with it. So, yeah.
We're in Proof, and that place, the old hotel Blaisdell.
And
it's
the Proof
haunted.
is in the.
And you don't want to do certain things, and it's haunted here. And so, no, like I'll be drinking. I wake up and I'll already have a half a gallon of liquid.
So where is Proof? You know where we are.
Yes,
we're
we're at the other side of Chinatown, the Veritanage side of Chinatown. This is the old Hotel Blaisdell
lobby.
Yeah, the lobby.
The lobby.
And so this is
Historic.
Chaplain Lane.
Historic.
And then there's a lot of stuff here. Anyway, they have a great sailor this weekend. Sailor Jerry. Now,
Yeah.
songwriting. It's one thing to have a great song, but how do you have an opening? What's it catching? I mean, name some songs that are just totally off the hook that had different openings.
Well,
I mean, that
like we said, I mean, the Rolling Stones stuff is very riff based.
Yeah.
So, one thing Keith Richards is a master at is just coming up with riffs, guitar riffs.
Yeah.
So, with songwriting, they call that like a signature riff, that sometimes starts the song and just hooks the memory. People remember the riff, but they don't remember the rest of the damn song, right?
Yeah.
But then you got like John Prine, and, all of his verses made no sense at all, rarely connected with the chorus, and the chorus was the kind of thing that you could walk away from a campfire singing, and there are songwriters that do that, and they end up being songwriters, which is a really elite category.
So a band versus songwriters. I mean, so on your iPhone, your whatever playlist you go on, is it heavy on the bands or heavy on the songwriters?
I tend to favor singer-songwriters that a lot of people really haven't paid much attention to. Mm-hmm. One, I can name, and man, check out this album by Paul Kelly from Australia. And it goes back a ways because KKDJ in Fresno was playing this one song, Dumb Things, it's called. Dumb Things. I've done all the dumb things. And so I do a song in my own solo repertoire now that I got reminded of because this woman walked in, the first week I was playing, a young lady, I should say, walked in and said, oh, you got a great, she sat and had dinner. Her and her friend got up and said to me, you've got a great voice and you should do this song by Tom Petty, Walls. So now I'm doing Tom Petty Walls in my repertoire, but it reminded me similar to a song off of that album by Paul Kelly. And Paul Kelly, to break in the U.S., had to change the name from the Colored Girls because the record label didn't like that to the Messengers. So it's either, you can look it up on any streaming platform, but it's Paul Kelly and the Colored Girls, spelled with the U in it, like, Australian spelling.
European.
Right, European. Or if my son says European, I'm a peon, we're all a peon. But anyway, yeah, he's prone to that. Shout out to my son, Justin.
How is he? I haven't seen him in a zillion years.
He's a character and a half.
Yeah.
I have a grandson now, so
Congratulations.
thank you.
Wow.
And he's something else. He was yelling at his dad the other day, Dad, get off the phone. I want to talk to Dad, not Grandpa, blah, blah, blah. Then the next day, they call me up. He wants to talk to Grandpa. So he's like 4 years old or whatever, so.
Wow.
But,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, yeah. But that's kind of, life comes full circle, and you kind of live for those moments, right? You know that.
Yeah.
You know that. So, anyway, yeah, shout out to my son Justin, who is in Eureka, California, right at the Oregon border, and just participated in an annual thing that they do from Arcata, right? The college town Arcata goes to Ferndale. Does anybody remember Ferndale Tonight with?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it was of course, it was a TV show with Martin Mull that was hilarious. It was like one of the very first spoofs on late night TV, right? So Ferndale Tonight. But anyway, it goes to Ferndale. It's actually, they cross a river and everything else, but it's a kinetic energy thing, and so it's all pedal power, and it's almost like a parade that starts in Arcata. And the thing has, like, you can see a 2-hour video if you look it up on YouTube for Kinetic Championship or something like that, Kinetic Event Championship, that goes on every Memorial Day weekend. So it was kind of a pisser that I didn't get a chance to get there Memorial Day weekend this year, but next year I'll be planning on it. And so, but yeah. So my son is good. He started his own business,
Wow.
hauling junk,
It's a big
and he does contracts with the city to overhaul homeless camps, things like that.
Yeah.
I told him, be careful, because wear the gloves.
It's called the proper PEE.
Exactly, and my son knows that, and he said, one thing about my kid, I got to tell you, he's always reassured me that he knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
And you don't know as a parent how comforting that is.
Oh yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. I had 2 daughters, so yeah.
Yeah, one time he told me, and we talked about suicide a little bit earlier, and I hate to bring this subject up again, but he had a young friend that spent like the night at his house a couple of nights before. Parents found him in the bathtub. He had shot himself. And and I'm talking like these kids were like juniors in high school. He was a junior in high school, man. So that's what I'm saying. This is such bullshit. I'm on the phone crying to my son at that time, and he goes, "Why are you upset? You didn't even know him." I said, "Son, I didn't have to know this kid to know that there's trouble in your little pristine backyard at the foothills of Yosemite. I mean, how much more majestic can you get, But then I thought, well, what was I doing at his age that kept me busy? And I told him, I said, you meet the profile. I said, I've been reading about these kids that do this, and you meet the profile, and I'm scared. I just was straight open with him. I said, I'm scared shitless. You know what he told me? He said, Dad, just because my friends are messed up doesn't mean that I am. Wow. So I started thinking, what was I doing at his age that kept me busy? I was playing music. I was in bands. And he was already playing music. He'd already taught himself how to play keyboards. I talked to my friend John Wash. John, buddy, shout out to you. I love you. Bought a keyboard from him that he took impeccable care of. Wasn't the latest, greatest, but it was what I could buy and what I could afford. Got it to him in a nice amber road case so he could beat it up. And that's what got him playing with Green Machine and, a bunch of other bands in the Fresno area. And that kid, my son, played more college campuses by the time he was not even 21 than I ever played anywhere. We played, boy howdy, played CSUF, Vintage Days, the biggest thing they do, 2 years in a row as their headlining band. They've never had a local band be a headlining band before until we did. And we earned the right to do that because we were playing all their rodeo barn dances that were Aggie dances, and there was some crazy ass shit going on there. First place I ever got in a fight in my life, and ended very quickly when I had to put my fingers through this guy's eyes and feel it squish. I know that sounds terrible, but by God, he let go of me and stopped biting into my side as soon as that happened. So sorry, but you know, Fresno.
We're all gonna dress as
It happened, and it was real. And if it's not real, you can ask Byron Horry and Brian Beal. Shout out to the very first guys that were in Boy Howdy. The very first guitarist and bassist in Boy Howdy.
So, okay, you have a song. How do you start? I mean, like, we think of the classic songs that have a great riff that, like, either a doodle in front of it, you know, like.
Well, it has to hook the memory. I mean, you know, you need something that just
because the opening's
people will remember.
The opening's gonna, like, you know, Tom Petty, dun, 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 the American Woman, right? American Girl, right?
Yeah.
The whole little thing before that, right?
Yeah.
And then how do you come up with that part?
Well, who do you think he was studying? The Rolling Stones, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Over there in swampy Gainesville, Florida, kind of thing. Yeah.
Everybody was studying those guys because they just went their own way. You know, I mean, you know, honestly, it's just.
No, but Stones had.
But something has to grab. It's called the hook, right?
But before that, so you're gonna go. Nowadays, I do MP3s. I have like a bazillion MP3s, right?
Okay, yeah.
I get a new album, whatever. And I'll like has somehow like Nirvana Teen Spirit, right? Go dun dun dun. Something has to catch you during a song because you start feeling like singing like I left my horse. It's like, huh? How do you come up with that first part?
It's really hard to say. I mean, sometimes it's a dream.
Yeah.
Sometimes you wake up, and I've woken up and had like a melody in my head, you know, that I couldn't get out.
Yeah.
The important thing is, though, if you feel like that's what you do, you're a songwriter, don't let it get away.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can grab your cell phone today, and you can hum that melody into it, okay? So,
satisfaction.
I brought these for a reason.
Oh.
I brought this for a reason. Okay? I looked this song up recently. I looked at, sorry if my mic is getting away from me.
No. It's just...
I'm doing this in my solo repertoire at Chiang Mai Thai food on King Street, Mo'ili, Fridays and Saturday nights.
Across from Long's, or almost across from Long's.
I don't think Long's is there anymore. It's now
it's Savers. Yeah, across from Savers.
So right before the Mo'ili Park, on the Mackay side of the street. It's been there forever.
Yeah.
It's been going through family changes, and Kisa, the owner, shout out to Kisa and his wonderful, wonderful family that have treated me like family since I got there. Okay, so this song takes me back to a place called North Maple Plunge in Fresno, which was the public pool when I was, you know, in middle school, if not younger. My brother would, my brother Larry would lay on the blanket and make out with his girlfriend at the time, and we later married, and all that kind of stuff, you know. Sometimes the song just puts you there by its melody or the song. So this song actually, when it came out, had words to it. It was one of the very, very small handful of songs of a foreign nature, foreign singer, foreign words that ever made it on the American U.S. charts, like the Billboard charts. But it did, and it went to the top. And I just play the melody because the melody to me was just so gorgeous. It was so beautiful. And I play this, and I got to tell you, there's a couple of notes on a diatonic 10-hole harmonica that are really hard to hit because I have to really bend them down low to get it. But Americans called this song Sukiyaki, which, when it was written, I've since looked up the history of this. When it was written, the guy who wrote it, who's not the guy who recorded it and became the star with the hit song in Japan and here, everywhere, the guy who wrote it as a protest song because he was unhappy about Japan's security agreement with America, with the U.S. And the song is called I Look Up. I mean, it translates to I Look Up. And when he wrote the lyrics to the song, what he meant was, and he was such a great songwriter that it transferred to like a relationship, you know. I continue to look up, I look forward, regardless of all the pain and the misery and the hurt that I'm in. This was a protest song. But tell me if you don't think this melody is gorgeous. I think it's one of the most gorgeous melodies, like Sleepwalk, that we've ever heard. Wait a minute. Make sure I got the right. That's a hard note to get. So there's a whole bridge section to it, but that's as much as it's like Beetlejuice, one show a night, baby.
How you doing?
I'm so proud to be here with you. I am so proud that you asked me to do this, and we couldn't connect. Hours were keeping us apart and everything else, but we're here. And cheers, kampai, and thanks to Andy for loaning us his place. When I said where, like where do you want me to meet you? And you said proof. I was like, I thought that, but I wasn't sure. But yeah.
And I went back through my texts going like, I didn't say that.
And so then that put me on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I should have subscribed to you a long time ago, but I hadn't. So folks, subscribe to Photography by Bill Hale.
Yeah, Photos by Bill Hale.
Photos by Bill Hale.
Yeah. You all know how to get my my Twitter and my Facebook and all that stuff like that.
But you've been doing this a while. I looked on there and there's like 15 videos on there.
Like 30
local people here.
Yeah. The whole thing was during the pandemic, I couldn't hang out with my buddies.
Right.
And so I'm talking, what can we do? I'm talking to Damon, I'm talking to Linda, and I'm going to start a podcast. And then I didn't want the big production with the headphones and all that stuff like that. And I'm hanging out. Joe Rogan. But my bathroom break is Joe Rogan. Because he can do it, I can do it. I'm hanging out with John Hart. John knows the story. And we're watching Clay Companion Jam. And we're just talking, drinking.
Clay Companion. Shout out to Clay Companion.
Yeah, Clay and Ernie, we've been working on it for a long time. And they're just fucking crazy. And then I'm going, okay, we can do this. And I showed up a couple weeks later with Locke. And Locke and I just did it. And then, hey, we can do this. And then all of a sudden there was John. And John and I had a great conversation. It's been just to talk to my buddies again.
Yeah.
Because for 2 years I couldn't see all my friends. And then you all know that if you watch my Facebook feed, all these people, now you get to hang out and listen to them talk, find out what they do. I mean, I took a deep dive with Nick last week because Nick's done so much stuff. He's like albums like Voice of Extreme and Nika McGrain or whatever. And everybody's done a lot of stuff to be here, And I'm talking to, Linda Bates next week. And Linda just got back from Japan. And she does
Keith there, have you?
Yeah, Keith and I did. We did it at his house. And Keith.
Shout out to Keith. Keith has always been very, very respectful to me. And he calls me a legend, which I'm not. But love Keith, brother.
Because Keith Batlin,
Keith Batlin, love him.
His dad and uncle and I ran track together in high school. That's how life is, right? Keith knows music. He knows music. We talk about this and that. He knows the perspective of music and all that stuff like that. Everybody. So everybody over the mainland around the world, seen my photographs of these people. Now you get to hang out and talk to them, listen to them, find their web links and what they're doing now and stuff. And so it's important. I mean, it's the music, it's the island vibe, it's rock, it's jazz. Thomas McCain was here. And Thomas McCain and I, we've known each other for a long time, but there's a thing before I was born, my dad played a certain song. It was Cal Jader's Soul Sauce.
Wow.
And then I knew that was the first time I ever knew. And so Geraldo's playing at the blue note, and here comes the cake. And it's like note for note. And I'm like, wow. So when we talked about it, that's how things go full circle. And if you're a jazz fan, you know the history of that song.
Speaking of jazz, isn't there some jazz tonight? There is.
There's jazz everywhere lately. We're almost back to normal, but not too much bands, except for here.
Hawaiian Brian's.
But here.
Shout out to Glenn. Glenn, love you guys.
Yeah, I talk to Glenn all the time. I saw Lee the other day.
Super good dude.
Yeah. But the main point is I have all these buddies. I want to like everybody talk now with my new format to like, you know. So this is Pat the Hat at Goodrich, and he's an old good friend and stuff, and it's amazing. So he has some good stories. He's an amazing player. Now he has a permanent gig or a gig for a while.
It's funny because
I see that restaurant. I want to go. Have to go down.
Well, I got tired of just being known as a harmonica player, and harmonica to me is still kind of a novelty. You know, I mean, there's not that many of them.
Yes.
There weren't that many of them in Nashville, and the ones that were really good were waiting for the studio work. You know, honestly, so they didn't play out. And everybody in Nashville, the singers, were scared to death to play with a harmonica player because they were afraid that they didn't know when to stop playing. Yeah. And by the way, the number one tip I have for anybody that ever asks me, what should I know about playing harmonica? Learn what not to play. It's very, very important, or you'll never get asked to work again. You play over another soloist or play over the singer. Believe me, more than here, Nashville will spank your ass. I mean, you can't do it. You cannot do it. There were great players back there that I met and knew that nobody wanted to work with for that reason. So that's my tip to you all. Okay, so where are we?
But there's some legendary harmonica players.
I met one, Jelly Roll, not the Jelly Roll that's going now. Yeah. You know, not that guy. There was a guy back there who took over Charlie McCoy's role. Yeah. And Charlie McCoy, listen, I was at the Country Music Hall of Fame when Charlie McCoy got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and what a day that was, man. It was amazing. But that guy can be heard on Bob Dylan albums. Yeah. And they asked him, this was interesting because this should tell you something about Nashville. They asked him that day, what was the day that you knew changed your life, you know, musically and everything? He said the day Bob Dylan came to town. And he played on all of those iconic Bob Dylan albums that were Nashville-based. Because Bob Dylan defied his record label and his producer and everybody and said, I want to go to Nashville and record. Why did he do that? Because he wanted to play with Johnny Cash. That's why. Johnny Cash had him on his show, you know, but he wanted to go to Nashville and record with Johnny Cash.
But you jam with Daryl Mansfield, did you, at Dukes?
I did.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Amazing player.
Yeah. It's like one of those kind of things. But
hardcore Christian guy.
Yeah.
Which is okay in my book as long as you know where it applies and where it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And then I'm working with Charles Fields, and Charles is one of his best friends is Jerry Portnoy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. And then the exhibit I curated, you guys know, Charles's latest exhibit has a picture of Muddy Waters in '75, and it's just Jerry Portnoy in it.
And I get to see it here.
Yeah. I got to take it down tonight, but Jerry's stuff. But it's fine. Anyway, how you doing? Thank you so much, man.
My pleasure. My honor.
It was good. It was fun. We waited a long time to actually have this deep dive.
In a great dive.
Yeah. Okay. How can people reach you?
That's a good question because I took myself off of social media for like 2 years. And I only recently got back on it on Facebook as Pat the Hat. I don't say TH over here because nobody does. It's like, you know, it's a foreign language. So it's Pat the Hat, DAHAT. You can find me on Facebook. I got to get back on Instagram. I got off of there. But the only reason honestly, it's not to be offensive to anybody that wants to reach me and find me or anything. It's just that it occupies so much of your time and it becomes an addiction, exactly like Praise Jesus artist, shout out to Praise Jesus, said in her song, addiction.
Yes.
It is an addiction, and you need to get yourself off of it from time to time. So I took myself off for 2 years, but I'm back on there again out of respect for the venue that I'm performing at. Again, Chiang Mai, Thai cuisine. You won't get better Thai cuisine in this town. That I can promise you. So come in for the food, stay for the music, and have a good time. Bill, I love you. I love you like a brother, man. I don't know about brothers from another mother. You already went to that Swedish thing.
Well, because it's Nick.
It's a Swedish meatball, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, because Nick, it's my little brother, and sometimes he annoys me, and I love him to death. Okay, I will be graceful. So, one more time, Proof Social Club, and Jazz is back there someplace. Thank you for everything. I'll fix it in post. It'll be fine. Probably tomorrow in the right way, and then all. Anyway, from Proof, Aloha.